Is the global economy in a recession? Is the stock market going to crash here in 2024? All of that will be answered for you today. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you today. We are going to talk about the economy. We're going to look at the stock market. I'm going to show you what the richest of the rich people are doing with their money. And we are going to get into all of that, which is in between. But let's not waste any time. We are looking right here at this article. Home Depot issues a warning about the economy. Now, you can look at some companies. It's Chipotle and McDonald's and all these others. But when we look at Home Depot, that is a very good indication of what's happening inside the economy, because are people renovating? Are people building? How are contractors doing? This gives us a sense of what's happening at the ground level. Many different stats are available. We could look at interest rates, we could look at inflation rates and jobs numbers, but sometimes we have to go to the second and third tier statistics to get a better sense of what's happening, and this happens to be one of them. If they're suggesting it, it is a reason to be concerned. Now, with interest rates still at highs, and of course, people are concerned about the future. We don't know. Is it a recession? Is it not? Nobody's going to admit it. And so this is the kind of thing that just prolongs the problem and only makes it worse for people. You're getting, of course, this talking about grocery prices, and people are feeling the pinch everywhere you go. You got to be smarter about where you shop. You got to know which place is right for you. Recession obsession, why some people root for an economic downturn. You got to be clear about this. A lot of people actually want to have a collapse. That's why you see all of the news articles and all the titles and all the YouTube thumbnails. It's crash, recession, collapse, and so on. Why? It's, of course, the negative side of it is attractive, but what do people actually want from it? They want a discount. They want a discount on their stocks. They want to be able to actually afford a home. They want to stop getting price gouged every time they go need a repair in their house or something. These things should not be discounted. We need to be aware of what's happening, okay? This is going on, and we're seeing the panic in people, and we're seeing how distraught they are, and gold has been a signal of that. It has hit a record high after everything that's been happening with the stock market, which we'll get into in a second, but it has hit a record high, 2,500. Look, there's as they say, the extreme renters who own nothing, not even their jeans. It's not just leasing your car. Christmas trees, camping gear, and even caskets are up for rent. I mean, this is a wild time. I mean, I don't understand how you can rent a pair of jeans. It's wild. But here we go. My friends don't even blink at the fact that I'm constantly renting stuff. It's my parents who are like, oh my gosh, you guys are still living in a place where you don't own any of the furniture. And this is an interesting thing. I think what is good about it is that people, they don't have this impulse buying, and then they go and they spend thousands of dollars on something, they get into debt and they're paying it off for 10 years. If you want something because you got this special event coming up, you could rent it, you can bring it back, that's fine. But I think people need to make better decisions with their money overall. We lack financial education. This is the number one problem. If you want that resolved, or anybody that your friends, coworkers, whatever, I literally created a free course, and you don't need to sign up with an email. You just go to the webpage, themoneygps.com/compass. That's it. You send them that link, 20 minutes later, they got all the financial education they need. Look how the situation is. People are making, they're talking about side hustles and all that. I shared one the previous week. I try to do that as much as possible. Not just for kids anymore. Adults turn to lemonade stands as side hustles. Now, this is not your kids type of lemonade stand where they're just, everything's all done and they're kind of just pouring it. This is like another level. It's more like a juicing stand. But the point remains the same, is that people are struggling. They're kind of doing side hustles where they can. Look, that's the economy. That's what's happening. These are real indications. In the markets, however, they recovered from all the panic and the worry and all that. This is just talking about the CEO of Google, ex-Google CEO, Eric Schmidt. He had a few things. They actually, as they said, is at the bottom point there. they actually pulled this talk, okay? Because he said, oh yeah, we didn't do so well because we let our employees stay home and work from home while OpenAI was all scrappy and they were getting it done real fast. And that's why they got AI first. This is important. He's talking about the fact that NVIDIA is probably going to be a big winner. They're asking for more and more and more. There's demand there from these big companies like OpenAI to use NVIDIA's chips and so on. And he's saying, you know what to do in the stock market. And then he says, yeah, not financial advice. So what's happened in the stock market is that we've had this hockey stick pattern. It's gone through the roof. It has exceeded any normal time frame and metric and so on that we've seen. And of course, it came down. And what did people do? Immediately, they bought in. What are the concerns right now for investors in the stock market? Number one concern, recession. Number two concern, that the Federal Reserve doesn't start cutting interest rates. They want cutting interest rates. They are going to get it real soon. And what about real estate? There's a mixed picture in real estate. We have the share of $1 million homes in America just hitting an all-time high. Okay. But then Florida, hit by the worst real estate crisis in decades, as desperate condo owners slash prices by up to 40%. Now, I talk about this with my Finance Friday crew all the time. Whenever you see these patterns, like NVIDIA going like this, Bitcoin going like this, whenever they go crazy, it doesn't mean that they can't get back to that point. That's just what I'm trying to say is we can't factor that very brief moment in time into the equation. The prices should have never been up at that high. In the case of Florida, you got to understand, it's not just prices. You can't look at a price in San Francisco, a price in Florida, and you say, whoa, look how much more affordable it is. In Florida, you're paying extremely high insurance costs. You're paying all these HOA fees, like condo fees. You're paying all these other things. So you have to understand your monthly total cost. And that affects your real estate prices. That affects how much the prices can appreciate and so on. Keep that in mind when we're talking about real estate. So real estate is very up in the air right now, but fundamentally, stock market, real estate, these things need a catalyst event to actually plummet. Forget about the peak. Forget about that peak, that one moment in time. But in general, to have a major correction, I shouldn't even use the word correction, a major crash, it needs a catalyst, a stick of dynamite being thrown into it for that to actually be these events that we talk about. It does come, it does happen. You will experience them in your lifetime, but understand that it's not just like, oh, the prices went really crazy and now it's going to crash as a result. Or, home sales are down significantly and now it's going to, no, that doesn't happen like that. Okay. You need a big event. You need a major event in order to pull that pin and to have it explode on you. Okay. Now we're going to talk about rich people. John shared this one in the Finance Friday. What we're talking about here is the haves and the have-nots, specifically the haves, more like the have on the left-hand side, not the real haves on the right-hand side, okay? So what we're talking about here is art. The rich can't sell their art, so they're borrowing against it. Art sales have slowed, but lending is up at the major US bank. Clients look for ways to unlock liquidity while keeping their art. This is better. This is what they do for their stock portfolios, okay? In the case of Jeff Bezos, he was borrowing against his Amazon stock. I guess, do you know how much it is? Do you know how much he was borrowing against at the peak, like 2021 or something, let's say? He was borrowing at 0.69%. So you're getting basically free money. He knew he wasn't going to sell all those shares. So there's no need, like, for him, it's like, yeah, it's free money. And so that's what he did. I don't know if he still has that or what have you. In the case of Interactive Brokers, or the best brokerage you'll find, Interactive Brokers, they were doing it at about 1%. Still incredible. Now those rates have changed, of course, since the rates have come much higher. But at a percent, I mean, come on. So what are they doing? They got a real asset. They know they're not going to sell it, and they borrow against it. But you do that in real estate as well. Now, if your prices are coming down, you're going to get squished. But there's the BRRRR method, BRRR. That method is basically what people have been doing, the cash out refinance, because they don't want the cash flow necessarily. They want to accumulate assets. That's what people are doing. And, in the right time, at the right place, these things could work well. Cash out refinance could be very attractive at the right time. You hold the asset, you take the cash out, and you don't go buy a Lamborghini with it. You invest in more assets. You always maintain that asset. If you need to, you can always sell. So you see what the rich are doing. You see what's happening. I have said this before to the Finance Friday crew that a greater than 20% crash in any broad market is very difficult to achieve. 30%, whoa, that's very hard. And then we go on and on. I'm not saying it's not coming. When it does, it will hurt and it's going to be catastrophic. And the result of that, guess what? Money printing. They will devalue your currency. They will punish you significantly. And we have people point, it's the government the government's the problem, but the government's also going to be the solution to the problem. We just need the right government. No. The government, the Federal Reserve, central banks, they are the ones that created the problem in the first place in order to make sure that there are two classes of people. There's the haves and the have-nots. And guess which group you're a part of, all right? George Carlin, RIP. You could see right here what I love to tell people. Number one, to get Compass, it's totally free. themoneygps.com/compass. That's what you tell your family, your friends, your coworkers that are like, I don't like this YouTube guy. Who's this guy? There's no links to my YouTube. There's no links to anything else. You just go to Compass, you get all those videos. But if you really actually want to know the big stuff that I talk about each and every week, that is with my live Zoom class that we do every Friday for the Finance Friday. And then on the Sunday, I'm literally on the ground level helping people build their online business. This is unlike anything that you see before. It's not like a Q&A. We do a presentation on both the Friday session and the Sunday session. I'm going for at least an hour on just the presentation. Then it's like open forum for the most part. You don't get anything like this. If you're interested, link at the top of the description. Wait a second. Did you hit that thumbs up button? If not, did you? Hit it now. And if not, Janet Yellen will come and visit you. Okay? Take care. Bye.